Nirvishesha Shunyavadi.
Se fue el sonido.
Ok, ok.
Ave, Ave, Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Oravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Satya Desadarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Namo Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Namo Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Es blanco, pero es bonito.
Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama
Devorita, hope you like the kirtan. So sweet, so enthusiastic. So, today we start in the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, verse number 2. Okay. Devesha, are you up for the reading, or how are you doing today?
Yeah, sure.
Very nice. I hire you to be always the reader. Oh my God. I want to read, but I'm so like tired. My mouth is like dry. And so I need to wake up earlier so I can read more like awake. But anyway, thank you.
No worries. Thank you for the opportunity. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dharma projihito kaitavo traparamo nirmashtraranam satam vedyam vastavam atravastu shivadam tapatrayonamulanam Srimade Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimva Parai Ishvara Sadyo Hridi Abrudyate Trakritivi Shubis Takshanat. Translation. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are material motivated. This Bhagavata Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. Purport by Asi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Ki Jai. Religion includes 4 primary subjects, namely pious activities, economic development, satisfaction of the senses, and finally liberation from material bondage. Irreligious life is a barbarous condition. Indeed, human life begins when religion begins. Eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating are the 4 principles of animal life. These are common both to animal and human beings. But religion is the extra function of the human being. Without religion, human life is no better than animal life. Therefore, in human society, there is some form of religion which aims at self-realization and which makes reference to man's eternal relationship with God. In the lower stages of human civilization, there is always competition to lord it over the material nature. Or, in other words, there is continuous rivalry to satisfy the senses. Driven by such consciousness, man turns to religion. He thus performs pious activities or religious functions in order to gain something material. But if such material gains are obtainable in other ways, then so-called religious is neglected. This is the situation in modern civilization. Man is thriving economically, so at present he is not very interested in religion. Churches, mosques, or temples are now practically vacant. Men are more interested in factories, shops, and cinemas than in religious spaces which were erected by their forefathers. This practically proves that religion is performed for some economic gains. Economic gains are needed for the sense gratification. Often, when one is baffled in the pursuit of sense gratification, he takes to salvation and tries to become one with the Supreme Lord. Consequently, all these states are simply different types of sense gratification. In the Vedas, the above mentioned 4 activities are prescribed in regulative ways so that there will not be any undue competition for sense gratification. But Srimad Bhagavatam is transcendental to all these sense gratificatory activities. It is purely transcendental literature, which can be understood only by the pure devotees of the Lord, who are transcendental or competitive sense gratification. In the material world, there is keen competition between animal and animal, man and man, community and community, nation and nation. But the devotees of the Lord rise above such competitions. They do not compete with the materialists because they are not on the path back to Godhead, because they are on the path back to Godhead, where life is eternal and blissful. Such transcendentalists are non-envious and pure in heart. In the material world, everyone is envious of everyone else, and therefore there is competition. But the transcendental devotees of the Lord are not only free from material envy, but are well-wishers to everyone. And they strive to establish a competitionless society with God in the center. The contemporary socialists' conception of competitionless society is artificial because in the socialist state there is competition for the post of dictator. From the point of view of the Vedas or from the point of view of common human activities, sense gratification is the basis of the material life. There are 3 methods mentioned in the Vedas. One involves fruitive activities to gain promotion to better planets. Another involves worshipping different demigods for promotion to the planets of the demigods. And another involves realizing the absolute truth and his impersonal feature and becoming one with him. The impersonal aspect of the absolute truth is not the highest. Above the impersonal feature is the Paramatma feature, and above this is the personal feature of the absolute truth, the Bhagavan. Srimad Bhagavatam gives information about absolute truth in his personal feature. It is higher than impersonalists' literatures and higher than the Jnanakanta division of the Vedas. It is even higher than the Karmakanda division, and even higher than the Upasana Kanda division, because it recommends the worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. In the Karma Kanda, there is competition to reach heavenly planets for better sense gratification. There is similar competition in Jnana Kanda and the Upasana Kanda. The Srimad Bhagavatam is superior to all of these because it aims at the supreme truth, which is the substance or the root of all categories. From Srimad Bhagavatam, one can come to know the substance as well as the categories. The substance is that the absolute truth, the Supreme Lord, and all emanations are relative forms of energy. Nothing is apart from the substance, but at the same time, the energies are different from the substance. This conception is not contradictory. Srimad Bhagavatam explicitly promotes philosophy of the Vedanta Sutra, which begins with the Janmadi Asya Sutra. This knowledge that the energy of the Lord is simultaneously one with a difference from the Lord is an answer to the mental speculators' attempt to establish the energy as the absolute. When this knowledge is factually understood, one sees the conceptions of monism and dualism to be imperfect. Development of the transcendental consciousness grounded in the conception of simultaneous one and different leads one immediately to the stage of freedom from the threefold miseries. The threefold miseries are: 1. Those miseries which arise from the mind and body. 2. Those miseries inflicted by other living beings. And 3. Those miseries arising from natural catastrophes over which one has no control. Srimad Bhagavatam begins with the surrender of the devotee unto the absolute truth. The devotee is fully aware that he is one with the absolute and at the same time in the internal position of servant to the absolute. In the material conception, one falsely thinks himself the Lord of all his surveys, and therefore he is always troubled by the threefold miseries of life. But as soon as one comes to know his real position as transcendental servant, he at once becomes free from all miseries. As long as the living entity is trying to master material nature, there is no possibility of his becoming servant of the Supreme. Service to the Lord is rendered in pure consciousness of one's spiritual identity. By service, one is immediately freed from material encumbrances. Over and above, this Srimad Bhagavatam is a personal commentation on the Vedanta Sutra by Sri Vyasadeva. It was written in the maturity of his spiritual life through the mercy of Narada. Sri Vyasadeva is the authorized incarnation of Narayana, the personality of Godhead. Therefore, there is no question as to his authority. He is the author of all other Vedic literatures. Yet he recommends the study of Srimad Bhagavatam above all others. In other Puranas, there are different methods set forth by which one can worship the demigods. But the Bhagavatam, only the Supreme Lord is mentioned. The Supreme Lord is the total body, and the demigods are the different parts of the body, of that body. Consequently, by worshipping the Supreme Lord, one does not need to worship the demigods. The Supreme Lord becomes fixed in the heart of the devotee immediately. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended the Srimad Bhagavatam as the spotless Purana and distinguishes it from all other Puranas. The proper method for receiving this transcendental message is to hear it submissively. A challenging attitude cannot help one realize this transcendental message. One particular word is used herein for proper guidance. This word is shushrushu. One must be anxious to hear this transcendental message. The desire to sincerely hear is the first qualification. Less fortunate persons are not all interested in hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam. The process is simple, but the application is difficult. Unfortunate people find enough time to hear idle social and political conversations, but when invited to attend a meeting of devotees to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, they suddenly become reluctant. Sometimes professional readers of the Bhagavatam immediately plunge into the confidential topics of the pastimes of Supreme Lord, which they seemingly interpret as sex literature. Srimad Bhagavatam is meant to be heard from the beginning. Those who are fit to assimilate this work are mentioned in this shloka. One becomes qualified to hear Srimad Bhagavatam after many pious deeds. The intelligent person with thoughtful discretion can be assured by the great sage Vyasadeva that he can realize the Supreme Personality directly by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. without undergoing the different stages of realization set forth in the Vedas. One can be lifted immediately to the position of Paramahamsa simply by agreeing to receive this message.
Hari Hari Bol.
Hello.
I'm listening to this amazing verse in here, and I cannot help but remember everything the Radhika Raman speaks about this verse and the Bhagavatam when he gives the seminar on the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. So I will put a link in the YouTube, and also I can send you in the chat. Because for me, it changed the way I see the Bhagavatam now. And he explains very clearly how here it says reject all type of religions. It's speaking about all of those religions who benefit you materially. I mean, the engagement of, he explains something very interesting. He said, when somebody cheats you, let's say you put some money because you're going to get a lot of money back very quickly, there is investment now in Bitcoins or something like that, I mean, you're not working for that, you just want to make, and then all of a sudden you were cheated on that, yes, you were cheated on that. And then he said, of course, the person who cheated you is a problem, but you also have an influence because you wanted to get something really quick for nothing. So he says many times the religions that we see in the world are that you want something really quick for nothing. Yes. So you pray for God for wife, you pray for God for money, you pray for what he was thinking about even India when they make fire sacrifice, puja for the house, fire sacrifice to bless the house, and then fire sacrifice for the new, Tesla they buy, or for all the sacrifices are for the material being, so they use like a transaction, and the worship is only to get something really quickly behind without much investing about it. So that kind of business is the religion that he's talking to reject. Now, within every religion, Silacharya also speak, there is the Bhaktas who really want to love God, who want to serve God, and they have this service mentality. So that's not what we need to reject. We need to reject the business mentality within each of the religions. And also because most of the religions, maybe they are good to help you to become a good human being, but they don't have the capability, for most cases, to develop a personal relationship with God. And the Srimad Bhagavatam has this vantage point to have this personal interaction with God, which in other cases you don't have. You may still be a servant, you may be also devoted, and you want to help your neighbor and so on and so forth, but you don't have the tools to have a personal relation with God. But the Srimad Bhagavatam here also explained, as you were reading, everything. When you read everything he says, come back like boom, 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 extra information they already have from Radhika Raman, which is really great. But he said the most important part of the Srimad Bhagavatam that no other Puranas had, and no other scripture has, not even the Vedas, is that is full of relationships, stories of relationships with the Lord. Even the different characters, personalities, higher the personalities, lower the personalities, when they give a prayer to the Lord, they are showing the way they relate to the Lord. So is the nectar of the Srimad Bhagavatam is that it's about relationships. It's about the interaction that you can have with God. And so in that sense, that's what it's called highest, not because they're fanatic or not, so if you understand really, and also the accessibility that everybody can read, understand. And also he explained this is done for the pure heart. Now, I can say for myself, not pure heart. So I say, okay, this is not for me. But we're reading through Srila Prabhupada, who is like, somebody explained to us a topic maybe for a PhD, a doctorate degree, but explained by somebody who can be the mediator between the high knowledge and yourself, and therefore you can assimilate some of the information. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada is very essential for us, because the Srimad Bhagavatam, even here it says this verse is one of the key verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam, because they were talking about the relationship with God, established that is higher the other forms of trying to relate to God. not in a business manner, but in a relationship. And so it's very, it has a lot, this verse has a lot. So if you haven't heard, I'm going to make a pitch again. Not that he wants me to do so. He doesn't even know I'm mentioning him all over the place. But Radhika Raman, the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, is something that all of you who are starting to read Srimad Bhagavatam should hear it before even continue further reading, because it will help you enrich your taste for what we're reading. So I highly recommend it. So anyway, thank you so much, Devesh. I don't know if you have a comment or Celeste. No. All right. We're going to offer then. Celeste, are you okay? No, no comment. Okay.
No comments. Thanks.
Okay, we're going
I'm
to
okay.
offer. Thank you. We're going to offer our respectful obeisance to all Vaishnavas, devotees of the Lord. They are like desire trees, able to fulfill everyone's desire, and they are full of compassion for all the conditions of child. Vanchakalpa tarubhascha, kripa sindhu vyavacha, patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I have repeated that verse many times in Spanish, so when I want to say in English, my mind wants to switch to Spanish, so I'm fighting with my own head to say in English. And so sometimes I get stuck. So, but I don't have to be the only one saying that verse. So next day, if somebody else wants to say it, you can be the director of that. It doesn't have to be me. All right, so I'm going to chant 10 minutes of japa. Those of you who can stay, please stay. Those who also do you, have a wonderful day, full of Krishna consciousness. I'm going to put my timer here. There. Okay. Thank you. If you are chanting with me, please unmute your phone. If you're not chanting with me,